The moonlight cast long, skeletal shadows across the lavender-scented sheets, painting an almost eerie tableau of our slumber. Abigail's soft breaths rhythmically stirred the air, a familiar counterpoint to the symphony of crickets outside. 22 years, 2.5 decades of shared laughter, tears, triumphs, and defeats. Yet tonight, an unsettling quiet hung heavy in the air. I reached out, tracing the constellations of freckles across her arm, a map I'd memorized through countless nights like this. But my fingers felt strangely disconnected, like they were exploring a foreign land. Where was the spark, the hidden fire that once ignited with a mere touch? Had it dwindled to embers buried under the mundane comfort of routine? Jerry. Abigail's voice was husky with sleep, her eyes fluttering open. A ghost of a smile played on her lips, the same smile that had captivated me all those years ago, before responsibility and mortgages had replaced the reckless abandon of youth. "Can't sleep," I murmured, forcing a smile back. "Just thinking." She sat up, the moonlight highlighting the lines etched around her eyes, lines that hadn't been there 10 years ago. Lines that spoke of late nights, PTA meetings, and the relentless march of time. Remember that trip to Italy? The little trattoria with the checkered tablecloths and the owner who spoke no English. A laugh escaped me, warm and genuine. How could I forget? You almost choked on that octopus tentacle you insisted on ordering. And you? She countered, her smile widening. You convinced the chef to teach you his secret limoncello recipe. We reminisced, the past unfolding like a well-worn map, familiar but faded. The laughter died down, replaced by a comfortable silence, but beneath the surface, a restlessness stirred within me. The memories, while sweet, highlighted the stark contrast to the present. Were we simply comfortable, or had we become complacent? Do you ever think, I began, the words hesitant, that maybe what, Jerry? Abigail's brow furrowed, a hint of apprehension in her voice. But the question died on my tongue, choked by the fear of disrupting the fragile peace we had built. I reached out, pulling her close, the lavender scent enveloping us once more. Maybe, for tonight, unexplored territories could wait. But the question lingered, a seed sown in the fertile soil of my discontent. The ceramic mug felt cold in my hands, the steam from Earl Grey swirling like memories above it. Abigail's excited chatter about Alana's upcoming visit filled the kitchen, but my mind was caught in a time warp, rewinding to a bonfire years ago. The flickering flames casting distorted shadows on Tony's face as he slammed down his beer bottle, his voice thick with hurt and betrayal. "She's seeing someone else, Jerry. Can you believe it?" The memory soared the present, turning Abigail's enthusiasm into ashes. Alana, the fiery dancer with eyes like emeralds, the woman who held all our college secrets. How could she cheat? A shiver ran down my spine, not from the morning chill, but from the unsettling truth lurking beneath the surface. "Penny for your thoughts." Abigail placed a hand on my shoulder, her touch grounding me back to the present. "Just thinking about old times," I said, forcing a smile. "Remember that party at Tommy's, when Alana almost convinced him to streak across the quad?" Abigail laughed, a tinkling sound that chased away the shadows for a moment. "And you ended up with permanent marker all over your face instead." Alana always knew how to push everyone's buttons. "Yeah, push and pull," I muttered, the words leaving a bitter taste in my mouth. Did Tony confide in me because he knew I had a secret admiration for Alana, a silent yearning never acted upon? Did he see something in her, a darkness I refused to acknowledge? "What's that, honey?" Abigail leaned closer, her gaze searching. "Nothing," I lied, quickly changing the subject. "Did Tony say how long they're staying?" The conversation moved on, but the seed of doubt had been planted. The woman who was about to grace our doorstep, the woman who once danced on tables and broke hearts, held a secret. And suddenly, the prospect of her visit wasn't filled with nostalgia, but with a curious apprehension, a tremor of anticipation mixed with fear. What ghost of Alana's past would emerge this time? And would I be strong enough to resist its allure? The laughter echoed through the living room, a vibrant tapestry woven from memories and shared experiences. Abigail and Alana, two halves of a whole from a different era, reminisced about college escapades, their voices blending like well-worn instruments. I sat on the periphery, a silent observer drawn into their orbit. Alana, once a wisp of a girl with fiery hair, now exuded a confident sensuality, her eyes sparkling with a mischief that sent shivers down my spine. Her laughter, once carefree, held a deeper note now, like a melody with hidden lyrics. I caught her gaze, held briefly, before she shifted, her attention returning to Abigail. "Remember that time we went skinny dipping in the lake?" Alana asked, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Abigail blushed, a giggle escaping her lips. "Oh my God, Alana, you were supposed to keep that secret. Secrets are meant to be shared, darling." Alana countered, her voice a husky whisper that sent a jolt through me. Especially with old friends. The conversation flowed, each anecdote peeling back a layer of Alana's past, revealing a woman bolder, more daring than I ever remembered. She spoke of backpacking through Europe, hitchhiking across America, each story tinged with a hint of danger and sensuality. "And then there was Michael," she said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone. "Tall, dark, and absolutely forbidden. We had this intense, hidden affair for months." Abigail gasped, her eyes wide with surprise. "Alana, I had no idea. Forbidden fruit is always the sweetest," Alana murmured, her lips curving into a knowing smile. Her gaze flickered to me, a silent question hanging in the air. Did she know about my own secret desires, the ones I buried deep within the safe confines of my marriage? The silence stretched, thick with unspoken words and charged with unspoken emotions. I cleared my throat, forcing a laugh. "Sounds like you had quite the wild life, Alana." "Maybe," she said, her voice soft yet laced with a challenge. "But life gets a bit tame after a while, doesn't it?" Her words resonated within me, echoing the unease that had been simmering beneath the surface of my comfortable life. Was this Alana, the woman who pushed boundaries and embraced the unknown, the same woman who once cheated on Tony? Or was she a carefully crafted persona, a mask hiding a deeper yearning for something more? As the evening wore on, the air crackled with a tension that had nothing to do with nostalgia. Alana's presence, a vibrant ember against the backdrop of our settled lives, stirred a disquiet in my soul. And as I watched her, I couldn't help but wonder if the forbidden fruit she spoke of was just an anecdote, or a tempting offer I was about to be presented with. The air shimmered with unspoken tension as Alana and I cleared the charades board. The playful competition had morphed into something more sinister, each charade a veiled message, a test of boundaries. My wife, oblivious to the undercurrent, bustled around the kitchen, humming a cheerful tune. "Careful, Jerry," Alana purred, brushing against me as she reached for a fallen piece. Her touch lingered, sending a jolt of electricity down my spine. "Don't want to bruise the delicate lavender prince." "I can handle a little row housing," I replied, my voice betraying a nervousness I couldn't control. The words hung heavy in the air, laced with a double meaning that only we understood. The Lavender Prince, a nickname Abigail once used for me, now felt ironic. Was I truly content with this safe, predictable life, or did I yearn for the wildflower spirit that Alana embodied? Suddenly, Abigail bumped into Alana, who stumbled, her wrist twisting awkwardly. A sharp cry escaped her lips and she clutched her arm, her face contorted in pain. "Oh my God, Alana, I'm so sorry." Abigail rushed to her side, her face etched with concern. "It's all right," Alana hissed, more through gritted teeth than sincerity. The tension in the room solidified, the charades forgotten. "Let me see," I said, stepping forward, my concern genuine but laced with an unspoken motive. I knelt before her, gently taking her hand in mine. The warmth of her skin sent a familiar thrill through me. "It's just a sprain," she murmured, her eyes locked on mine. "But it could have been worse, couldn't it?" Her words were ambiguous, a riddle only I could decipher. Was she referring to the physical pain, or the emotional one simmering beneath the surface? "Maybe," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. "But some risks are worth taking, aren't they?" Her lips curved into a knowing smile, a spark of challenge dancing in her emerald eyes. The air crackled with unspoken desires, with the unspoken possibility of transgression. "Perhaps," she said, her voice a husky whisper. "But remember, Jerry, the path less traveled often leads to unexpected bruises." Her words were a warning, a temptation, and a dare all at once. As I looked into her eyes, a reflection of my own conflicted desires stared back. The lines between harmless flirtation and dangerous exploration had blurred. And in the lavender-scented silence of our living room, I knew the game had just begun. Sleep evaded me like a wisp of smoke. Abigail lay beside me, the lavender scent of her hair, a comforting contrast to the turmoil within. Alana's voice, a husky echo in my mind, replayed her final words. "Remember, Jerry, the path less traveled often leads to unexpected bruises." Was she talking about her sprained wrist or the potential consequences of our unspoken flirtation? My gaze drifted to Abigail's peaceful face, etched with the lines of shared laughter and silent battles. Loyalty, a heavy weight settled on my chest, a responsibility intertwined with love and familiarity. Moonlight bathed the balcony in a silvery glow. I stepped outside, the cool air a slap against my heated skin. Alana leaned against the railing, her silhouette etched against the city lights. The tension between us vibrated across the distance. "Couldn't sleep either," she'd asked, her voice a soft chime in the night. "Too many thoughts," I admitted, joining her. "About the game?" she inquired, her voice close, a dangerous melody. "Maybe," I mumbled, the admission tasting like ash in my mouth. "It's been a long time since I played anything this risky." She chuckled, a low, sensual sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Life gets predictable, doesn't it, Jerry? Sometimes you need a little adrenaline rush to remember you're alive." "But at what cost?" I countered, finally meeting her gaze. Her eyes, reflecting the city lights, held a promise both thrilling and terrifying. "That's the gamble, isn't it?" she whispered, her lips brushing against my ear, sending a jolt through me. "Every choice has a price. Loyalty, comfort, safety, or the unknown, the thrill, the possibility of something more." My heart hammered against my ribs, a traitorous rhythm echoing the conflicting desires battling within me. The image of Abigail flashed in my mind, her trusting smile, the years of shared dreams. Could I betray that for a fleeting moment of passion, a dangerous dance on the tightrope of desire? I started, the words catching in my throat. "No answer is an answer, Jerry," she said, her voice laced with understanding, yet tinged with disappointment. "But remember, the longer you stand at the crossroads, the tighter the rope gets." With a final, knowing smile, she slipped back inside, leaving me alone with the moonlit city and the weight of my choice. In the vast expanse of sky, I searched for answers but found only swirling constellations, mirroring the tangled mess of my emotions. Dawn would bring a new day, new decisions. Would I remain tethered to the familiar path of loyalty, or would I take a step toward the unknown, risking the comfort and trust I had built for the tantalizing allure of forbidden fruit? The tightrope stretched before me, the consequences dangling on either side. The choice, ultimately, was mine, and the weight of it threatened to pull me down.